Sup guys, this is Phoenix and welcome to Germany's low-tier flying gunboat. A very crappy bomber, but a very interesting design nonetheless, with a somewhat unique ability as far as German bombers are concerned. So, if you want to see how unique it is, then please watch on. Alright, first of all, gotta take off. Can it yet? Alright, it can. Yeah, so first of all, as you can see, this is a flying boat, so we do not need no airfields. In fact, it cannot really use airfields at all. I mean, you probably can belly land on an airfield and maybe it won't fall apart, but I don't guarantee it. Actually, do we have an airfield here? Right, we don't have it here, but there should be at least one airfield there and one airfield there. Roughly speaking, to be honest, I don't really remember, but this is definitely part of the Norway map. Well, okay, let's talk about the flight performance first. So first, weapons. There's, as you can see from the line on the bottom, there are no cannons, as in there's no offensive armament per se. However, we have turrets and payload. Yeah, so first let me talk about the turrets, because that's where this vehicle is special. So as you can see, we have 3 gunners, and it's quite interesting, but actually we have 2 20mm cannons. And yeah, one is a heavy machine gun, we don't really care about this, but the other 2, they are 20mm cannons. I think it's this one and the one in front. Let's see. Yeah. But to be frank, I'm not quite sure where. Oh, okay, so you have to be frank, you have to learn the firing arcs of the cannons if you want to use them, because they are tricky. The cannon in the front, there's no real problem with it. The machine gun here is also not problematic, but the cannon here is problematic. It kind of seems as though it fires only very low. I mean, not very low, but only exactly to the rear. I don't see it turning around. Okay, actually it does fire to the sides, but only at a very limited arc. I guess that it doesn't have any negative vertical guidance, or at least not much of it, and it can only fire below the beams here, to the sides or to the rear. And as you can see here, we have not a single turret on the belly, so belly is definitely your weakness, but we'll talk about it later. Yeah, so these turrets, they give rise to some interesting possibilities. Namely, as long as you don't show your belly, which unfortunately means that you'll have to give up your altitude if you are spawned with one. We'll see if there's a spawn or not. I'm pretty sure there should be normal bomber spawn. Then you will have to fly below your enemies to actually engage them, and as it turns out, only the front turret is worth anything. Yeah, aside from the turrets, we have some payload. You can see it here under one of the wings, the right one. Unfortunately, those are only 650kg bombs, which are honestly pretty crappy. But, well, always better than nothing, right? And at least you have a bombing sight to actually aim those bombs well. But that of course means that you need the ability and experience necessary to use it, to actually hit. Because this plane is very slow, I really do not recommend bombing very close to your targets. You will be a very easy target for anything, to be frank. But in Ground B, you'll really get destroyed a lot if you get too close. Alright. Yeah, pretty sure those bombs aren't too accurate. Let's try bombing this cargo ship to find out, and even if they do actually hit, they won't do much. I mean, you can take down things up to light tank, I guess. Alright, to enhance accuracy, let's bomb parallel with the ship's deck instead of perpendicular approach. Yeah, so those bombs they are fairly weak, honestly, so light tank is probably the best you can count on them to destroy. Medium tank maybe, but you would have to be really good at aiming the gun, the bombs. Same goes for heavy tanks. In RRB, this probably means that you cannot destroy pillboxes and cannot destroy anything heavier than a patrol boat or a cargo ship. Alright. Where is the... Okay, there's the marker. It went some random direction. Oh shit. Alright, I'll have to make another approach. Unfortunately. Okay, so we will come back to it while I talk about the next point, which is survivability. Yeah, so this plane has no armor at all, which kind of makes sense because it's supposed to float on sea. But it actually isn't that bad. It has self-sealing fuel tanks and it has 3 engines, which means that you can probably lose one and still stay fly in the air without much problem. If you lose 2 engines, that you probably will crash, but one should be fine. Next, you are a bit susceptible to fires, but again you have self-sealing fuel tanks, so it should be possible to... Damn, I was too impatient. Alright, I will have to fly 2 kilometers away from this thing before actually bombing it. Yeah, so but this is also good because thanks to this you can see how cumbersome aiming with this thing is. It's not easy at all. Not if you don't have a lot of time to plan your approach and introduce adjustments. Yeah, so back to survivability. There's only one oh, okay, there seem to be 2 pilots actually. So we have a redundancy here. And we have 3 gunners, of course. Well, it doesn't really matter because your gunners cannot replace your pilot. Yeah, but having an extra pilot is nice for sure. Alright, where is that stupid boat? There it is. Alright, over 2 kilometers away. Now it should be fine. Alright, where is that target? There it is. Okay. Come on to the left. Yeah, so remember, as I mentioned earlier, your belly is a big blind spot. It will be considerably difficult for you to defend yourself. Alright, all bombs went down. It will be considerably difficult for you to defend yourself when an enemy approaches you from the bottom. Alright. Interesting that the marker for bombs showed that it was chilling on the deck, but the bombs fell randomly next to the ship. Okay, I'll try again while I talk about other things. Yeah, so that was pretty much survivability. We only have to take a quick look at rip speeds. So for now only the first 2 are of interest to us. So 405 km per hour is your wing rip speed. In other words, never overdo it while diving. You will extremely easily destroy your plane. And gear can survive 450 km per hour, which is both silly because your plane will be a wreck at that speed, and reassuring because you have no need to worry about destroying your gear at all, ever. Because if it does get destroyed, then your plane's already in pieces anyway at those speeds. Yeah, so again, major weak points are basically the same of every plane. At this BR you should be able to survive some punishment without much problem. Or for the pea-shooter machine guns that people have. Alright, so let's talk about speed. So as you have been able to see so far, this plane's speed is egregious. It's absolutely horrible. It's kind of fitting for it to dwell in water because it's such a goddamn turtle that really I have no words to describe this sort of speed. I mean, yeah, it's faster than T-95 and mouse, but compared to other planes, it's just as much of a mouse and T-95 to other planes. Alright, another approach. Let's adjust the aim in advance so that I don't have to make any last minute adjustments. Alright, don't go to the left, you stupid ass. Alright, I think that should have been on point at least. 3-4 bombs should hit the deck. Alright. They succeeded, but they were too weak to destroy a stupid cargo ship. Alright, great. Yeah, so the bombing capability of this plane is utter trash. Yeah, so back to speed. The maximum speed is, well, this is a stack plane, so it's around 250, but the spaded plane can do 280. Yes, again, this plane is stock, but this is because I can't be asked to spade it. There honestly is not a single merit in spading it. Perhaps except for turret upgrades. Otherwise it's just garbage and you cannot change it by unlocking modifications. Next. So we have web available. As you can see, the stall speed is relatively low, or so I heard, but we have to try it out in practice. Alright, so 140, sorry, is more or less stall speed without flaps deployed. Now let's dump the bombs, see how it affects the stall speed, then I will deploy the flaps and we'll see that again. Alright, for now I can still roll. Yeah, without bombs it's slightly better, but still not much better. Like, I don't know, maybe an additional 5 kilometers per hour. Alright, I think the flaps are more or less fully deployed. Alright, with landing flaps deployed, the stall speed is just below 120 kilometers per hour, which is kind of garbage, but for a big plane like this, I mean, okay, it's not garbage, but this plane is generally really garbage in terms of flight performance, so I kind of got ahead of myself and scolded at it without thinking much. Alright, so regarding energy retention, I won't even bother. With this sort of speed it doesn't matter how much you can retain it. The climb rate is horrible. Well, currently okay, let's drop the payload. It's just getting in the way. Alright, so as you can see, when I dropped the payload, the climb rate shot up significantly, but your speed is honestly horrible. So never ever bother climbing in this thing, you will just feel pain. I won't really talk about how altitude affects engine performance because it doesn't really matter. Trash is trash. We can take a quick look at manual engine controls. Okay, so we cannot control supercharger nor turbocharger. Alright, we can control propeller pitch, and it's actually one of the rare German plane that doesn't actually get its engines cooked by manual engine controls. Also, as you can see, the propeller pitch when set high seems to give you more horsepower. Next, the radiators. Yeah, you can control both radiators, but there are no automated controls for radiators or prop pitch. Yes, I'll go back to engine controls being on auto. Regarding fuel, as you can see, the minimum fuel is relatively high. Well, it's a bomber, nothing else to expect. Next, now let's talk about agility, and honestly there's nothing to talk about, just look at this roll. Okay, let's stop those bombs so that they don't get in the way. As you can see, the terrain is horrible. Well, actually not that bad as the roll rate. Okay, the terrain is not that bad. If you deploy flaps, the terrain gets considerably better. Yeah, it becomes somewhat bearable, but the only reason I am not losing speed while doing it is that I'm losing altitude a lot. Alright, let's go back to normal. So back to flaps. Yeah, so we don't have combat flaps, we have only takeoff and landing flaps. So you don't have to worry about breaking your takeoff flaps, because the moment they break, your wings will break too. So there's nothing to worry about. And the landing flaps, yeah, those are problematic because they break at 320 km per hour. However, to be frank, this only matters if you are diving down, because you cannot reach that sort of speed while flying in a level flight. It's some 30-40 km per hour above your maximum speed, so yeah, it's a bit of a joke. But at least the flaps are effective, they do give some boost to handling. Yeah, I won't bother talking about how speed affects agility, because honestly there isn't much to talk about. Well, I guess I can dive down a bit and see how it goes, how it affects agility at speeds above the maximum speed. On the other hand, I won't talk about how altitude affects agility. There probably isn't much of an influence. Maybe it gets worse high up, but that's pretty much it. Alright. Whoops, getting close to maximum speed. Alright, so I think it got kind of more sluggish at and above 300 km per hour, but then again, this plane is so sluggish in the first place that it's difficult to tell the difference. Alright, now a quick jump to the hangar. From what I remember, this plane doesn't really have any special features. Yeah, it doesn't really, has only basic upgrades, as you can see. No further payload. The turret belts are actually fairly good on default, so you don't have to bother upgrading them. But I guess those two upgrades are the only thing that actually makes sense to unlock. Looking at the belts here, there's no point in unlocking the more advanced belts because they are pretty meh. Honestly, the turret belts are always worse than offensive armament and its belts. Alright, so this was it for the flight performance, crappy as it was. So I'll be back soon. Alright guys, a little bit of an addition to part 1, which I forgot to mention. So this thing was also called Seedrache, which means Sea Dragon. And at the same time it was nicknamed the Fliegende Holzschuh. I think that's how it's pronounced, which means flying plug. And it's related to the side view shape of its fuselage, as well as a pun related to Wagner's opera Der Fliegende Holländer, or the Flying Dutchman. Yeah, if you look at it, then I guess it does have some fancy shape. Alright, so let's proceed to the next part. Alright guys, we are back. As you can see, the layout is exactly as I said. No real changes, and as you can see again, we have a bomber spawn. Alright, let's see where those shtukas are going. And I will go for the base that isn't covered by either of them. Okay, I thought they were in the squad since they are flying so closely, but no. Alright, for now there's no hurry. So let's talk about history. So the first... Okay, the beginnings of this plane reach at least 1937, perhaps earlier. It was initially developed by a company called Hamburger Flug, I think Flugzeugbau, something like that. And because of this, it was designated HA-138. If you haven't noticed yet, German aircraft were always given designations that depend on the company they originated in. Alright. Not sure what those guys are doing, so... Alright, let's go for the left base, and on my way back I can try to have some in-depth exchange with that enemy bomber there using my turrets. Yeah, so the first flight was in 1937. I think that at this point it was already transferred to Blohm und Voss, hence the designation BV, to develop. However, whatever was going on, it took quite a while to develop the plane fully. Well, for example, initially the first prototype had a different shape of wing. It had a gull wing, so the same type of wing as on F4U Corsair, but it failed to generate enough lift for the flying boat to actually be a flying boat and not just a boat. So they had to scratch that plan. Is there some other plane around somewhere? Or just... okay, never mind. Maybe this is my own engines that I'm curing. Anyway, so in practice the plane was introduced into service only during, I think, October, or anyway, during fall 1940. Some pre-production series aircraft were pressed into service with Luftwaffe in 1940 earlier, when Germany invaded Norway, and they helped transport troops. Other than that, there were almost 300 of those flying boats produced. The production ran until 1943, but I'm pretty sure that the aircraft served until the end of the war. And generally it served as a maritime plane for patrols and reconnaissance. Honestly, there isn't much to talk about regarding combat service. Aside from the Norway part, there was only one thing that is worthwhile to mention, and that is that this plane was supposed to cooperate off a U-boat with Lützow cruiser northeast of Norway and Finland. So basically it was supposed to intercept Soviet shipping that went to places like Arkhangelsk and Murmansk. You will know what those two cities are if you know about Allied convoys that helped supply Soviet Union with weapons and equipment, basically part of the Lend-Lease agreement. Alright, I think I'll be able to bump in a short while. Yeah, so that's pretty much it regarding history, I suppose. As I said, nothing much to say. I mean, what can this plane accomplish with 6 500 kilo bombs? Well, actually, no, wait, there are a few more things I can say about this in terms of history. So, first of all, this plane actually could also carry 2 150 kilogram bombs that were actually depth charges. Wait, where is that? Shit, I don't see the aim for bombs. Okay, let's whatever. Let's just drop them and look for that swordfish somewhere here. Yeah, there it is. Let's try to use my turrets against him. So as I was saying, so firstly, this plane should also have those 2 depth charges. Oh, it seems like I will actually hit the base. Nice, nice. Basically, I mean, not basically bad. Yeah, so you can actually destroy a base with this. Nice. At least it's not a total good for nothing. Yeah, so as I was saying, It should have 2 depth charges, which it doesn't, but we don't get it in War Thunder for whatever reason. Also, there were different configurations of turrets in real life, so initially this turret here only housed a 792 machine gun, so just like on other turrets at this tier in German bombers, and this turret initially had the same machine gun as you currently have here, so this 13mm machine gun, but it was later upgraded with an actual enclosed turret. Yeah, unfortunately this is pretty much it, and I don't see that swordfish. I think he bombed and just left. Alright, this is probably going to be boring, so I will just show you some gunboat action in a short while. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back, and as you can see, the guys are already wilding. So one interesting thing, first of all, I have picked airfield as my spawn, and when you do this you actually spawn in an not on the airfield but just above it, and already running at around 250 km per hour. This is the case for all flying boats, not just this one. Just an interesting trifle. Yeah, guys, be wilding. The reason why I spawned so low was so that I could directly engage fighters with my turrets. Well, honestly, it will be a bit difficult. I'll have to fly really low. Yeah, those guys be wilding. But we'll see, maybe we'll be able to get some nice action. So first of all, I will not show you ground RB, because honestly this plane is not cut for it. But I will explain why later. Let's see, can I bomb something? Okay, let's try to bomb. Okay, we'll see. Maybe I will not bomb anything. Maybe I will. We'll see. So, generally the meta of the RRB is good for you, in the sense that, just as I said on the Dornier video, the bomber version, nothing's really going to climb to your altitude when you spawn on the bomber altitude. Your only problem is going to be other bombers, and this is not necessarily good news, because American bombers have machine guns strong enough to decimate your silly little boat, which has happened to me just today, so I know what I'm talking about. Also, a few select fighters do have the ability to climb to your altitude if they put their mind to it, so don't feel completely safe. If you get down-tiered, then there will be more biplanes and less threat to you, albeit some biplanes such as Gladiator actually can climb to that altitude, so again, don't completely let your guard down. For up tier you are going to be screwed possibly, because at 2.7 I think there should be more than one monoplane fighter that doesn't really have much problem with getting up to your altitude. Alright, I think I'll go to these targets there. Wow, those guys are busy, and then what the hell? What's shooting at me? Oh, it's that asshole here. Seriously, why are all guys and low tier so rabid? There's always something decay. There's always some crashing idiot. There's always something that shoots at me. Seriously. Anyway, back to the important talk. Yeah, I won't really talk about which enemies are dangerous for you, because everything is dangerous for you. I mean, even other big bombers are of danger to you, because they also have turrets, they are also sturdy, they can also engage you and give you a lot of pain. I mean, generally you have much better turrets than anything else at this BR, so there's that, but you are probably also slower and possibly more fragile than some of them, so don't get too cocky. As for advice tactics, well, it depends on what you want to achieve. Honestly, if I wouldn't really take this plane at all if I were you. You can have some fun with it, but yeah, bombing bases and using it as a gunboat are probably the only two options. How it fares as a gunboat is something that you will see in a short moment after I dump my bombs. Alright, let's see if I can actually... this is going for me a miss. That maybe two. Alright, let's just dump that shit, I don't care anymore. And focus on being the gunboat. Oh, actually I did hit something. Alright. This dude is going for me. And I have my gun trained on him. Remember that this cannon in the turret here has a relatively poor trajectory. The bullets are falling really quick. Yeah, see? This is what I'm talking about. But he also beat me up a bit. Okay, that's a friendly I'm hearing. Actually, maybe it was the ground thingies that gave me this much damage. Alright, good news is I set him on fire. Bad news is that guy just destroyed my turret. Killed my gunner. Okay, let's see. But my rear turrets are still working. Yeah, with turrets, unfortunately, you have to... Come on, shoot. So, okay. Oh, let's see, only that one turret with machine gun is still operable. Come on, reload this shit. Honestly, reload takes a long time. Really long time. Am I getting right into the airfield? I am, that's another thing to watch out for when flying this thing in a gunboat roll. Watch where you are going. Alright, so as you can see, I have taken quite some damage. Still alive. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, so if you want to fire at fighters, then it's actually fun. But you have to be really careful as to where exactly your turrets are pointing. You have to be... Yeah, unfortunately, I crashed. But I can still shoot, provided someone gets close enough to me. We'll see. Actually, that's not a bad position. Right on the approach to the airfield. Let's see if that B-36. If he wins and if he comes this way. Actually, I'm not even dead, bruh. It's interesting. Alright, so the game is basically thinking that I'm still capable of taking off. Except I'm not, but whatever. Alright, some bombers I can't even touch. Yeah, so again, you have to remember where your guns are pointing. As I have already mentioned this in the flight performance part, so I won't really repeat myself, but generally this turret and this turret here, they have the best range of trajectories available. As you can see, this turret can almost point forwards. Actually, it cannot really point downwards, so there's that. Will this guy be able to realize and understand? Well, actually, I only have one turret, but whatever. Oh, never mind then. Alright, so be right back and I will talk about the last in one more battle where I will engage bombers in gunboat roll. Alright guys, here we are. There are two bombers, I will engage them now, or rather the one I can, three now. It seems like the one on the left is the biggest. Alright, let's go for the one on the left. It's the biggest, so there will be the biggest section, I suppose. Hopefully. So yeah, I didn't quite finish what I was talking about RB. So I'm not quite sure how much I said about tactics, so let's elaborate just in case. So you have only two tactics that are available. Firstly, you can use this as a bomber and go against enemy bases, which you can easily accomplish using this view. That is, you can easily hit the targets. However, I really advise you against going low to do this. You should stay high. Alright, B3C, let's go. You can, in theory, engage ground targets, be it an RB or ground RB, but again, I don't really advise you do this. Your payload is way too weak for this, and your turrets aren't really that much of a protection if you are not focusing on using this bomber as a gunboat. Oh, I think I got down up to it. That KI-45 is not quite something I recognize at 1.7. I'm pretty sure it's a heavy fighter. You have to be careful of it. It might have a 20mm cannon. Oh, this guy easily leaves me in the dust. Alright. Let's turn around. This KI-45 is bound to go after me. Yeah, so that was the first tactic. The other tactic is to just fly low from the outset and use this plane. Okay, it died. And use this plane for engaging enemy fighters, just like I've done previously. For that, it's best if you spawn on the airfield, because it will spare you the trouble of diving down, the trouble and danger of flying down, to be exact. Earlier, after I cut recording, I dove down to check it out, and the plane fell apart at 470 kilometers per hour IS, more or less. Alright, the other guy, I can't catch him. So one of those SB2Ms is what I will engage. Yeah, so just from this current recording you can see another problem, which is that if you want to use this plane as a gunboat against enemy bombers, you have to intercept them by cutting into their path. You can't really chase them down, because you are likely going to fail to catch up with them. Alright, at this point I might as well just attack the fighters or something, because those bombers, I just can't catch up with them. This SB2M is fairly fast for a low-tier bomber too. Yeah, so overall this plane is, honestly, it's only for fooling around. You can use it as a gunboat, it's a bit fun in the troll, but otherwise it's very, very underwhelming in all kinds of aspects. The armament is shit, the payload is shit, only the turrets are good. Survivability is barely okay, but if you compare with higher BRs, it's still shit. Okay, SB2M is coming back, let's engage him. The speed is shit, the agility, handling, whatever, is shit. Honestly, it's a good for nothing. It's only fun to use as a gunboat for kicks, that's it. Nothing more. Alright. See that guy there, but... he went around me. Alright, scored some hits. I think the 20mm. Okay, he ran away. Alright. I don't see anyone here in the clouds. There's one more SB2M somewhere behind me. Let's see if I can... Okay, there he is. I'll try to engage him. If I cut his path... wait. Stupid crew doesn't see him. Yeah, if I cut his path somewhere there, then I should be able to intercept. Okay, he's turned in my direction. Now I'll turn in his to get the gunner properly invested. Alright, I'll just go straight first and use the front turret, then use the rear turret. Oh, going to be a bit problematic. Alright. I might have dealt him some damage. Yeah, I did, but probably not that much. Come on. Not sure, did it hit or not? Probably not. Okay, there's that SB2M that ran from me out there. Let's try to dive on him. I got a bit some damage from that exchange of fire right now, but not much. Right, one thing that I have misunderstood a bit earlier is that the belts are actually better when upgraded. It's just the default belt is not bad. Oh, there's a fighter. Alright. It's a stupid biplane and I cannot run away from him. Alright, but I can engage him with my turret. Always shoot ahead of the trajectory of the enemy planes with the turrets. If he's flying up relative to your turret, then aim higher. If he's flying low relative to your turret and lower, then aim even lower. Okay, he got my elevator, so this is GG for me, unfortunately. Yeah, but that's pretty much how it goes against bombers. Not too good. I can kind of try to survive, but it's not going to be anything interesting, so be right back. Alright guys, we are again. As you can see, I got takeoff without takeoff. Nice. And again, I will engage some fighters, and because I don't really want to bore you with some garage talk in the hangar. So yeah, I've pretty much finished talking about RRB. Just to summarize, which I'm not sure anymore if I've done already or not, probably not. Hope this guy won't get damaged. Alright, if I didn't, then he didn't either. So anyway, as I was saying, to summarize, this plane is only good for two things, which is either bombing bases from bomber altitude or playing around, messing around with fighters with your turrets as a gunboat. It's pretty much all it is good for. If you have any other aspirations for playing bomber, then don't bother. This thing is not good for taking down ground targets here in RB, nor in ground RB actually. Speaking of ground RB, as I said earlier, I am not going to take it into ground RB to show you because it's just a waste of time. This plane is completely useless in ground RB. The bombs cannot do much. The turret supposedly has a nice penetration rate, but it's extremely inaccurate. Especially when strafing ground targets. Yeah, of course there's some retard shooting at me. Seriously. I really want to. Okay. Let's see if he will be lucky and survive. I will just fire one shot. Alright, he was lucky. Yeah, so as I was saying, your guns are pretty useless, your bombs are useless, and it's just, that's not even it. You are very slow, so you are very easy to hit, especially because you are a very large plane. The turrets have a very limited field of fire, which makes it even harder for you to actually resist. Alright, I'm not sure I mentioned it, but when you are fighting against fighters in a gunboat role, make sure to be below the fighters because of the limited vertical guidance of the turrets, of the gunners. Alright, this is a biplane, might as well take him head on with my frontal turret. Subdued. Alright, see, it's hopelessly inaccurate, but he was very slow at this point, so it was an easy kill in the end. Alright. It's best if you can lure enemy fighters to follow you, because the rare armament is stronger. However, it has a much more restricted field of fire, so take that into account. Because if you don't, then you may go for wool and come back shorn. Yeah, so back to Ground Ruby thing. You are very unlikely to survive. It's very easy to kill this flying bot. Alright, let's do some close air support, so to say. Oh, quite a few targets. Alright. Whoa. Come on. 20 mil. Of course, the gunner is dead. Yep. Alright, so at least I tried, but as you can see, heavily armored vehicles. I think that Breguet or whatever is the pronunciation of that French company has a 20mm cannon, does it? Let me see. This was... Where the hell is that? Not here, not here. Okay, it was probably this. Yeah, it has a 20mm cannon. Okay, it was added after I went through the French tree, so didn't notice. Yeah, as you might have noticed that the performance was slightly better this time. This is because I got some upgrades after those 2 kills on fighters earlier on. Yeah, so again, don't take it into Grand RB. You will just suffer. You are extremely easy to kill. The tanks will even be able to shoot at you with their main cannons very easily. So it will be very fast a GG for you. Next. Yeah, so now let's talk about economy. Well, actually, there's not much to talk about. You have better SL modifier than an average fighter at tier 1. So for example, those things, they have like 30%. But honestly, if you want SL at tier 1, that what you want is Stukas, because they have much better SL modifier and they have much better research modifier. So, and they are generally much better planes for everything in every regard except for the turrets. So honestly, you should just play Stukas for everything except that gunboat role over this thing. Next. Alright, the repair cost, as you can see, is very cheap. Just as everything else that you want. Actually, let's compare it. So for example, Stukas. Okay, Stukas are... This Stuka is cheaper, but actually it will be more expensive because, as you can see, I didn't bother to unlock its modifications, so the cost will rise. Yeah, so overall, is this plane worth your grind? I would say no. This is because this plane is only good for one thing, and it is that gunboat roll. Honestly, I don't think you will get any 20mm cannon on any bomber at tier 1 except for it in the German tree. And you will have to go until, let me see, somewhere in tier 2 there should be something with a 20mm cannon. Yeah, there it is, Heinkel 101. Sorry, 11 that you don't really have to bother unlocking. Is the only other thing at this BR that has a 20mm cannon. Otherwise, you just have to suck it up until rank 3 if you want this sort of turrets. However, this thing has a 13mm cannon. Yeah, no for turrets, but there are other planes with 20mm. Yeah, so again, unless you want to play around as a gunboat, don't ever bother. However, if you do want to play as a gunboat, then of course you should first unlock the weaponry modifications. Otherwise, I suppose some engine modifications, especially going from bottom up, and those 2 modifications. This one, let's see. Come on, display it. Seriously. Yeah, maybe this one, but wings repair and cover over airframe for sure. Okay, displayed it finally. Yeah, not that bad, I suppose. Yeah, so that's pretty much it regarding this plane. A bit fun, but extremely restrictive in its roles and functions. So thank you guys for watching. Oh, right. A bit of an what was the word again? Notification. Namely, this is going to be the penultimate, that is second last video in the old style. After this one, I will also cover Heinkel 115. Well, I haven't spaded it yet. For a change, I will spade this one because I want to show you the torpedo and so on. So yeah, after that Heinkel, it will be time for the new format, and this also includes BF-109 and Heinkel 111 from the low tier. Not necessarily in those versions, but I will show them in the new format because the same goes for Stukas too. I don't really want to screw them up with the old format, which is clearly obsolete and not that popular. Alright, so thank you guys for watching, and until the next time.